3 points in the bag last week, sorry, not last season, and 2 clean sheets and through to the third round of the Carabao Cup. Not a bad week for West Ham, but we go into this weekend's fixture against Manchester City. The champions are coming to town, Rye. This is going to be a tough test for Lopetegui.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's I never look forward to playing Man City. We'll talk a little bit about our record against them in a minute, but look, it's been a great week. You know, first 3 points of the season at Selhurst Park, it was a great win. Then obviously going through in the corrupt cup, the Carabao Cup. It weren't pretty, but a win's a win. And as you said, mate, Manchester City coming up. Look, they've been on a great run of form. I don't think they've lost in the Premier League in 2024, so probably not the greatest time to play them, but when is the greatest time to play Manchester City?
And that's exactly the point, mate. You know, like you said, their run of form at the moment, you know, carrying on from where they left off last season, they have this tendency just to keep rolling out results and wins, don't they? Like I said, is there really a good time to play them? Because, you know, sometimes you think start of the season is a good time to play teams because they're not all up and running, but they've shown that, you know, dispatched Chelsea, they absolutely annihilated Ipswich. And, you know, probably maybe the best time that you could probably sit to say play City is around Christmas. But, you know, they've got some fantastic players. They seem to let players go that sometimes you sit there and think, oh, why have they let him go? And then, you know, they still roll on these performances and wins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they re-signed Gundogan, who was a brilliant captain for them. He won the treble with them just before he left, and he's just come back. And you look through their squad, and they're just all over the pitch. They're world class.
Yeah.
You know, they're a tough team. Guardiola's built them up over the last few years. I don't think Guardiola has lost a league game against West Ham. I know we beat them in the Carabao Cup the other year on penalties, but I think that it's been since we beat them at the Etihad under Slaven Bilic in 2015, we haven't beat them in 17 games. You know, so we haven't got a great record, and I'm not looking forward to it. But I am looking forward to see the way Lopetegui plays this game because, you know, with Man City, they're one of these teams. They're so good that if you sit back and let them invite them on, they're going to punish you. And if you go toe to toe with them, they're going to punish you. So it's about finding a way and having luck on your side and having decisions go your way that we get anything out of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you offered any West Ham fan now a point, I think we'd take it. But yeah, you know, as you said, mate, they had that last week, you know, the first game of the season, they played Chelsea. People thinking, it could be a potential banana skin for them. They go there, comfortable 2-0 win. And then last week, they go 1-0 down to Ipswich after 7 minutes. You know, all they've done, rolled their sleeves up, and before you know it, they're 3-1 up before Ipswich have even blinked. You know, that's the sort of team they are. And as you said, mate, it's never a good time to play them. And it's going to be a very difficult game.
Yeah, that's it, mate. You know, they've got Haaland, you know, he's just an absolute goal machine. I think he's now on 94 goals in 101 appearances for him. You know, that's a phenomenal record to have for any player, you know, but he's just a goal machine. And obviously with De Bruyne fit at the moment, pulling the strings in their midfield, like you said, it's a worrying concept. But I now sit there and think, you know, we saw under Moyes, we had them displays. Okay, we did lose a couple. We got a couple of draws against them, you know, especially the notable one, I think was the 2-2 at home. You know, we saw last season when teams, the lower teams went there and had a go at City or had a pop at City, you know, all right, they got beat, but they wasn't hammered. And, you know, when you look at us last season, the way we were, we sort of sat back and got punished for being that. For me, I wouldn't mind to see us having a bit of a go, you know, and have a pop at them.
Yeah, I think this is what all West Ham fans want to see. We don't want to turn up to London Stadium on Saturday and we don't want to be sitting at home watching our team sit back like we've been watching for the last few years against the top 6 teams. And then you see what happened last season when we done it at home to Arsenal. We got beat 6-0. You know, you can't do that. And when I look at the team that we're building at the moment, the players we've brought in, we've got players that, you know, we can attack Man City. You know, when we get the ball, which will be rare, they'll have a lot of possession, which they usually do. We won't have many chances. But when we do get possession and we do get chances, we've got to make it count. You know, as I said earlier, We need a little bit of luck. We need decisions to go our way, and we need City to have an off day. You know, there are. I mean, I'll sit here all season, and we'll do match previews against a lot of most Premier League
Yeah.
teams. But when you come up against Manchester City, you know, it's a difficult one because a lot of managers, not just us, a lot of fans around the country sit there week in week out when they play against Man City, thinking, "How are we going to beat these today?"
And
So,
no, that's it, mate. That's the key thing is how do you beat them? How do you pick this side apart that better teams, and that's no this, we're still a team learning. I think you see that last night. We're still learning how we want to play under Lopetegui, and it's finding a way to pick this Man City apart. Looking for a weak link somewhere in there. And that's the tough job that the players have got to work out. As I said, the Moyes way sometimes it didn't get the wins, but it stifled City at times.
yeah, listen, I mean, when you sit there and you think like, how do you break this City team down? What gives me a bit confidence going into this game is that I'm confident that we're going to start with Wan-Bissaka and Emerson as fullbacks,
Yep.
which for me that gives us a lot of pace down the right and the left. Players that can overlap, that support us down the left and Bowen down the right. So if anything's going to happen, I think it is going to happen from down the wings, and it's going to be crosses into the box. But it's about our players making the runs and bullying their defence. Who's he going to start with? Is it going to be Antonio? Is it going to be Fulkrug? Both of them for me can give that Man City defence, especially like a Kanji. And who's the other one they play? Ruben Diaz. Is it Diaz at the back?
So.
You can, sometimes as much as they're great defenders, sometimes they do have off games. And as I said, you've got to hope. But then you can talk about their defence. You've got their forwards and their midfield to worry about, and that's where they damage most teams. So the midfield battle is going to be very key on Saturday.
See, the thing is as well, when you look at us and the way we play and the way we're trying to play at the moment, when you were talking earlier, and you see, especially in the Bournemouth game last night, a lot of Moyes is still imprinted on this team. The way we set up, and it was very. We got the job done, but it was very sit in our own half, pass it sideways, backwards, and I don't think we can afford to do that against City. I know it's hard because you've got to keep the ball, and the longer you have the ball, the less they've got it, and they can't hurt you if you've still got the ball. But I think if we dilly-dally the way we did on the ball a couple of times last night against Bournemouth, with the City press, I think we'll come unstuck. And, it's going to be, we'll see when we go through what we think, we should go for. But with the new players, it's a lot to bed in. And like you were saying with the likes of Antonio, Antonio in the past has had some really good games against City, worked their defence ragged. And now I think it's one of those where, do we save him for that last half hour, 20 minutes, or do we give him that 60 minutes to sort of try and run them into their defence into the ground a bit, and then bring on Fulkrug? It's a hard one to pick of what to do in this game.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I mean, I was sitting there earlier thinking about it. For me, I feel that 65, 70 minutes, if we're still in the game, chucking on an Antonio to run at their defence and bit more power and pace could be the right option. But look, we're not the managers, this is Lopetegui's decision, and he has to go with what he feels will work for him. But look, I don't think there's anyone outside the West Ham world that think that West Ham will get a result on Saturday. I mean, all the pundits and all the people that predict they're probably going to go for Man City. Me being a West Ham fan, I always think, maybe we can get something out of that. But I've been saying that 17 times since we beat them at the Etihad. And, as you said, the closest we've probably come was when we was 2-0 up and they drew 2-2. They missed the penalty as well that day. I mean, it is going to be a difficult game. We know that. Man City are champions for a reason. They're a good team. They've got a good manager. They've got some world-class players. And then you look at up top, they've got Erling Haaland, who's just a phenomenon. He's just outrageous. His numbers are crazy, what he's done since joining the Premier League. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. Our defenders are going to be in for a battle on Saturday. So are our midfielders, and so are our strikers,
Yeah.
and so is our goalkeeper, and so is our fans,
Yeah,
everyone.
but
But
this
it's
is the thing, Wan-Bissaka, I think, he's hit the ground running. He come on against Palace and helped change the game. Last night, having to play left back with your injury that Creswell picked up, I thought he looked really good. And with Emerson on that left hand side, Emerson that position's his own. He's obviously the best left back we've got. And it's good to see that we're going to have players. I know Soufal likes to get forward, but Wan-Bissaka's just got something a bit different about him, And I think in the Charity Shield, he was one of Manchester United's best players against City, so he's going to be up for this one. I think he'll probably be up against Doku, won't he? I think Doku plays on the left for them.
yeah,
And
you got Doco, you got Rico Lewis as
Mhm.
well. I think sometimes each sides, two good players there. And yeah, I agree with you, mate. I've been very impressed with Wan-Bissaka. I was impressed with his cameo appearance last
Yeah.
week at Palace when he come on. He changed the game for us, involved in the first goal, and then obviously even playing left back last night, he was man of the
Yeah,
match.
yeah,
He,
yeah,
every time he hasn't got that ball, all he's looking at is getting forward to support the likes of Bowen and the other
Mhm.
attackers, and that's what we lack. I mean, I love Soufal. I think he's a good defender and he's been a great servant for us, but pace wise, he's not
Yeah.
there. But Wan-Bissaka just offers you that, and Wan-Bissaka ain't afraid to take people on either.
Mhm.
You see it last night. He got brought down.
Yeah.
Well, I think the tackle he picked up a little knock, but it was the willingness to try to take 2 or 3 players on. It was only that he was a heavy touch that
Mm.
cost him, but look, I just like the way he plays, and I think for 15 million we paid for him, I think it could be one of the signings of the summer,
Mate,
signings of the
I'm
season.
with you. I think that's an absolute steal that we've got now. I was sitting there last night saying to people, I can't believe Manchester United have let him go. He's such a talented player and such a good defender. And look, he's going to have strength. You could see last night, he weren't his natural side, and obviously it's about building up relationships and partnerships with the players in front of you. Probably first game that him and Somerville had played. So it's hard to understand and get that connection with players right away. The sort of connection that we see with Emerson and Paquetá when they've played on the left together. Certain players have a good chemistry, and it's going to take time for them players to work each other out. I thought Antonio not being involved last night might be a telling factor that I got a funny feeling he could be starting on Saturday.
Mm.
You know, you,
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And as you said about the link-up play with the players and them getting used to each other, we said it a few weeks ago, even before the start of the season. It's probably going to take Lopetegui 8 to 10
yeah,
games. He's got to try different formations. You've got to try different positions, different players, and then when he finds it that it clicks, the forward line sort of fully fit. It picks
mm-hmm.
itself. The fullback pick itself now. The
yeah,
centre back pairing is still up for
yeah,
debate.
yeah, yeah.
And the central midfield is still up for debate. It's about getting that
Mm.
right. So
I think,
yeah, no, I'm
no,
yeah. It's
go on, mate. Sorry.
go on, sorry,
Go,
mate.
go, go, go.
No, go on.
I
You
was going to
go.
say, I think last night we saw what Fulcro could bring to the side with some of the link-up play. He was trying to link up with Bowen. He linked up with Somerville a couple of times. He's we can see he's gonna drop deep. Reminds me a little bit like a Giroud type. Happy to drop in the middle, link up the play, but also wants to get yourself in the box to score a goal.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. You look at his aura and the way he plays, and he has got that. It's perfect description is Giroud because he does sort of remind me of
Hmm.
him a bit, and I think that once Fulkrug gets more minutes under his belt, a run of games, and finds his first goal for the club, I think he will go on a run of form, and I think he's going to be a great
Hmm.
player for us. And he's another one that I'm looking forward to seeing more of him out in the next few weeks. Somerville last night against Bournemouth, it's a tough game for him because he wants to impress, but sometimes he over tries. But he was getting himself in positions. He's got to get used to the Premier League. He's played in the Premier League before, but he's got to get used to playing in the Premier League with West
Mm-hmm.
Ham. New players.
Yeah.
So his time will come. I've got all confidence in him. So yeah, mate. It's as we said, it's going to be a very difficult game. But yeah, it's a game I'm looking forward to. I want to see how. I think every West Ham fan now will say to you, if we don't win, let's go down with a fight.
Yeah.
and let's try to take it to City. And if we walk out there losing, but we walk out that stadium and think, you know what, we give it a go today. It was better than what we've been seeing over the last few seasons. All you can do is hold your hands up. But let's hope that we nick a little cheeky little win.
That's it, mate. So what do you think? What would you like to see as the starting 11 for this one?
Yeah, so in goal, obviously Areola picks himself. My back four, I've gone for Wan-Bissaka at right back, Emerson at left back, Kilman, Mavropanos as centre backs. The reason I've gone with Mavropanos, I don't think Todibo is up to fitness yet. I watched him last night. He looked a bit sluggish in points. He's once he plays a few more games, his fitness will come. I like the look of him. I like his positioning. He's a good defender, but I think to put him up against Haaland, first Premier League start might be a bit difficult. Mavropanos is proven, and I think that him and Kilman can do a job or try to do a job against City's attack. Yeah, and then I've gone for my midfield pairing. I've gone for Alvarez and Rodriguez. The reason why is Souček played a full 90 minutes the other night, and I think that it might be a bit too much for him to play 90 minutes or 90 minutes in a week. And I just want to see something different. I think Alvarez can do what Souček does, but a little bit better. And Rodriguez can also sweep up when he needs to, go forward, get back, win tackles. Then in front of him, the normal three, I've gone for Bowen on the right, Paquetá in the middle, then Kudus on the left. Then up top, I've gone for Füllkrug. I think give him a start against City. Let's see what he can do. And then, as we said earlier, you've got Antonio to come on, fresh legs, and try to bully the City defence. But yeah, that's what I've gone for.
Yeah, bring him on as a battering ram. Yeah, well, that's it. So I was in two minds for this one. So I've picked. I'm going to go for this one. It's a bit of a out of the box system. So I've gone for obviously Areola in goal, and I've gone for a 3 centre back pairing with Todibo, Kilman, and Mavropanos, with Wan-Bissaka as right wing back, Emerson as a left wing back, like you, Rodriguez and Alvarez, just in front of them Paquetá. But I've thrown a curveball in. I'd like to see a 2 up top with Jarrod Bowen and Kudus, because I think we'll get the best. I don't like Kudus on the left at the moment. I don't think we see the best from him. And I'm just thinking with a Bowen Kudus pairing up top, it gives that City back line a lot to think about. Normally when they've just got to deal with an Antonio, they've always got that spare defender, especially the way their fullbacks push on. I just think maybe if we try this little, we've got the 5 at the back to keep it solid, the 2 holding midfielders, Paquetá we know can get on the ball. You see it, he keeps trying to play blind passes, he sees them passes that other players don't see. And with Bowen and Kudus playing as a front 2, look, we can ask them to drop deep and push Paquetá forward as a false 9 if need be at times, if we are backed against the walls. But I just think it gives City a bit more to think about in their own half instead of concentrating on our own half, if you get what I mean.
I like it. And do you know what, mate? It wouldn't surprise me if he did set up like that, because we are playing Manchester City, No disrespect to many of the Premier League teams that we're going to come up against, but this is Man City, and we see how they dictate games and destroy teams, and he might go with 3 at the back. It's a good shout, and Bowen and Kudus at top, they can obviously split and go out wide if they need to, and then, as you said, someone like Paquetá could move in the centre. But it's interesting that both of us didn't pick Souček, no Antonio or Soufal. No. And I think that Soufal's time has come now where Wan-Bissaka has to start. The back 4, I think, picks itself.
Yeah.
As you said, if we go with a back 3, then Todibo would come in. I just think it'll be a bit too much for Todibo. I mean, when I see him the other night, that's why he got dragged off at half time and he deserved it. He looked sluggish. But look, the Premier League, I'm sitting here, it's difficult, the Premier League. People don't realise the intensity of it and the pace. And obviously, he's been playing in France, and it's a different level over here. So it's going to take time. But look, I think both of them teams, they've got the right mix of players in them. I think whatever way we set up, I'll be happy with either one of them.
Same
we don't even have to do a poll this week. We both do.
That's it, mate. And that's the thing. The other team, the other system that I did sort of think about was very, very similar to what you picked. And like I said, I see what you were saying with Todibo. I see see it last night, but he's a bit more physical. And that's what with again we know he's a quality player, but I think the physical demands of the Premier League he struggles with. I think with Todibo at the minute, the physical demands will be fine, but he's got to get himself up to the pace of the Premier League. So there's a lot to come from him. You can see there's a player there, and it's another player who wants to play the ball out of the back, which goes to show we're looking to progress the way we play football. And like I said, mate, Lopetegui's got this thing of he sets up differently for different teams. This is an opportunity now, hopefully, that we see that one, and go into the game and try and get a result. But talking about results, what is your score prediction, mate?
It's always a difficult one with Man City because I hate betting against West Ham losing. I hate predicting West Ham to lose, but sometimes I've got to think with my head instead of my heart. I can see us being in the game. I think we will get chances, but look, I'm going to be honest. I just think City are going to be too strong for us. I think it'll be a close game. I'm going to go 3-1 City, but I hope I'm wrong. Of course I do. I think that it could be a game where we maybe go 1-0 up, and then City just nick something and then they just go on. But I'd love to sit there and say, yeah, West Ham are going to win, back the boys, and there'll be a lot of people slating me. But look, I've got to go with what I watch week in, week out, and what I've seen so far between the two teams, and I just think City are so strong. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go for a City win this week,
mate. I'm not being again. Mr. Positive went for about 4 years predicting West Ham to win every game. But I'm like you. I think this game's come too early in the season for, the implementation of the Lopetegui way. And I just think Man City will be too strong for us. So I was going to go similar as you as 3-1, but I'm going to say 2-1. So I think it'll be a bit tighter. And I think we'll nick a goal late just to make it a bit nervy.
But listen, Scott, I hope we're both wrong.
Mate.
I hope we turn up and we manage to. I will be up absolutely buzzing on Saturday night if we get a point.
Oh, same, mate.
I'll be even more buzzing if we get 3 points. But as I said, mate, as long as we give it a go against City, give them something to think about. And if we lose the game, but we've give it a go, and we've come out there and we're proud of the team, that's all we can ask for.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. But right, thank you once again for joining me. Obviously, I'm not at the game Saturday, so make sure you check out Fan Cams. We'll be back for Friday Night Pint. We're filming this Thursday, so this will be obviously Friday Night Pint going out Friday evening. Nicky and Dan will be down at the ground for Fan Cams straight afterwards. I believe there's going to be a post-match pint, even though it's a 5:30 kickoff. And I'll be back. Well, it's international break next week, isn't it, mate? I think. So, we'll be back.
Yeah, international break.
Yeah, I'll be back, I think, for the build-up to the Fulham game after the international break. But thank you very much for watching. Ryan, thank you for joining me. One thing left to say.
Come on, you Iron.